Evening, everyone. It is another beautiful day here. Toasting the end of my cigar. I understand you're supposed to toast the cigar. I have a Kentucky Fire Cure. You're supposed to toast the end of the cigar, then light it. And then blow on the end. I don't know if blowing on the end actually does anything. It makes it white and kind of red. It glows, so that's pretty. That should be enough. Beautiful day, as I said. So it is 6 o'clock, Saturday. I think we're supposed to get rain. We didn't end up getting any rain. Got some a couple days ago. But today has been absolutely beautiful. I haven't done very much. I've been organizing, trying to get all of my gaming supplies, hobby supplies in one location. Went out and bought some containers. And went downstairs, got things kind of organized there to start building my gaming table and a little crafting area. I'm hoping that will help me to get organized better. I don't like clutter. But it's a beautiful day. It's a day where you can smoke and the smoke doesn't just blow away. It's got that unfurling. Kind of lays right here in front of me. It's kind of nice. I've seen people take pictures of smoke, and that can be absolutely beautiful pictures. When I was out just now, it seems as though society, you see all kinds of YouTube videos about people that kind of go crazy in public. Been insulated from it here quite a bit, but today it seems as though the insulation, bring it a little closer, has been taken off. We were coming out of Myers, and someone just kind of verbally at least started attacking this guy. He was walking with his wife, said, "You said something about my mom, and you know, F this, F that." And I'm thinking, my goodness, there's kids around here. What's wrong with you? Talking about beating him up, and no one around even lifting a finger. Everyone is just isolating themselves. Nobody wants to do anything. So I set my bags down, and I thought, well, if you did call your mom something, this is not really the way to discuss it. You can at least say, "Hey, why did you do that?" or talk about it, but not just have a little hissy fit. We need to bring back that phrase, a hissy fit. We have too many people that have hissy fits. They don't get their way, their little emotions get bent out of shape, and then they just fall apart, start crying, doing all kind of stupid stuff, shooting people. People can't have a rational discussion, it seems, anymore. I don't know if the IQ of the world has gone down. I think a lot of it just has to do with everyone's trying to deal with things because of their emotions. I don't think emotions are bad. Emotions are good. We need to have emotions. People can cry, they can be happy, sad. Emotions are great, but when they rule your life, that doesn't become great. But the guy, young man, he probably was, I don't know, 19 years old or something. His mom was telling him, "Calm down, there's no sense in acting like this, nothing happened," but he was just having a fit. He eventually walked off, so I didn't have to get involved, but I thought, I'm not gonna let someone get beat up here. There's no sense in that. There's no sense in reacting that way, even if the guy did do something. It's like, the guy was probably in his 38, maybe 40, and it's like, he doesn't look the type to call someone just a random name. Still, it's not a way to react. We live in some interesting times. And it's not that it hasn't happened in history. I think that's part of the problem. We've forgotten history. We don't, I mean, even in academic institutions, especially institutions of higher learning, they're throwing history out. Which is why so many people are embrace a Marxist approach to life, but they don't understand Marxism. They're holding to things that go back 200-300 years philosophically. It's like you don't know that all this stuff goes back to that time. It's been an undercurrent. It's just kind of come into the forefront with the rise of postmodernism in the mid-1990s. And we don't know history, so we think that whatever we're thinking of now is the first time it's ever been thought. And then we're forced to repeat the mistakes. It was G.K. Chesterton who made the statement, before you take a fence down, you need to figure out why the fence was put there in the first place. That fence may be there not necessarily to protect things from you, but to protect you from other things. And you go take it down and say, we're just going to start over and we're going to do whatever we think we need to do or what we feel we need to do. Well, that's a danger. And it's not just on one side. I mean, we have kind of two different sides, it seems, in the United States. I think it's a little bit more nuanced. We could say that there's two general sides, but I think there's two general sides, and in each side there's two extreme sides within that, kind of a sub expression of the culture of those sides. But both extremes are just as hateful. Anyways, it was shocking. I was hoping that I wouldn't see that, but that makes me want to move to the middle of Kentucky even more now. I just want to be in the middle of 45 acres to where I can't see anybody. Write my fantasy novel, but that's not really right. I mean, you had the early Western civilization, you had the early church. By the time you get to even the 300s, 200s and 300s, you had the early church fathers and mothers, as they call them. People who wanted to escape society. That's not the answer. I can't hide myself in the middle of 45 acres because there needs to be a discussion. People need to be able to talk with each other. And we've seen here recently that has not been the case. You wonder, I had an old man one time told me, this is when I was probably 32. He came up to me and he said, David, he said, the secret to living in life is to realize this one truth. And I was wondering what it was. Is it invest in Google or Apple? What is it going to be? He said, remember the phrase, this too shall pass. And since that time, I've sat back and I've noticed that, that in fact is true. I tried to instill that in my kids, especially whenever, my kids are 26 and 29. So when COVID hit, they were in their early 20s, mid-20s, early 20s. And of course, that time was a lot of uncertainty. Of course, everyone, I'm sure, knows how it would happen. But I said, there's worse things that have happened in history. And one thing that history teaches us, that fads, expressions, movements, they all go away. And they usually are just expressions of what has happened in the past, because people don't remember the past. And I said, it's a time. I said, it may suck that it's difficult to go get your groceries. You can't go to the movies. I love the movies. I think COVID almost ruined maybe they're coming to an end anyways. The whole Marvel series, I enjoyed that. I thought they did a brilliant, not to do, get off track here too much by squirrel, but I thought it was amazing how they tied all these different movies in. There must have been 15, 20 movies they tied in into that series, and it was like it was almost like watching a mini series, but you got to watch the movies. So it was beautiful. It was an endless story, but COVID seemed to kind of ruin that because you couldn't go to the theaters. I said, yeah, it's a bad time because we can't do the things we used to do. You can't eat out, you can't do this, you can't do that, you can't have group, for at least up here in Michigan, for 2 Christmases, they said you can't get together with people. I think people still got together, but because toward the end of it, people were like, we're not seeing anything really happening here, so people were still getting together. But I said, this too is going to pass. And, I said, even our society, American society won't always be here. It's like years ago, people were talking about Facebook, and they said, Facebook is a giant that'll never end. I said, it will end. I said, it'll run its course eventually. Now it's mostly older people that use it. Not a lot of young people use it. They're using TikTok and they're using Instagram. But all those will go. It was MySpace. It was Facebook. It's all going to go. WhatsApp. All those things will eventually have their time. They'll go away. People will find something else. At least in a capitalistic society, you always find that you close something down, somebody is going to make money. If they can make money off of it, someone's going to come back and make money. And yeah, it's a movement right now in our society, and you wonder, how long is this going to last? Of course, you don't know how bad it's going to get. Will people learn that we just need to come to the table and talk about things? Will they learn that they can have disappointments? Say, I disagree with you, and I can go on with that? Or will there be more violence that goes out there? I just, I guess it depends on how far society is willing to go, and to a point where people say, hey, this is just, we can't continue to be a society like this. Things to wonder about, I guess. I don't think I really said anything, but it is concerning. And then I come out here and sit. I think, man, just looking at nature, analog all around me. There's no digital. Well, there's digital right there. You're on the digital. This is like the perfect wedding of digital and analog. You get to hear the crickets, get to hear the cars going by. That's not a high point, but over there in Kentucky, where I was looking at those pieces of property, there was no cars that went by. That 145 acres we had to drive. We drove 5 miles on a 1-lane road just to get to the front of the property, and I think there was like 2 houses down in that area. There's nothing around there. So that's where my Apple Maps was telling me you're not in the world anymore. At least we don't know where you're at. So, but yeah, it's a beautiful day. It's probably 80 degrees. We got up to 90 today. For the end of September, that's pretty warm, but it didn't feel hot. I think the dew point was quite low, so that helped out. But it'd be nice to have some highs of 70. I think they're coming in about a week and a half, it says, so that'd be good. Talked about getting a skid steer and a backhoe. And then I went on to look at the price. Some of those things are $80,000. $80,000 for a small skid steer. I thought, my goodness, even if you're using it for commercial uses, how do you pay for that? And that's the small one. If you want a big one, you're probably looking at $120,000 for some of those things. They can do some pretty cool things. There's a cultivator you can get. I mean, there's stuff for moving hay. Of course, there's the bucket. You can do some digging and stuff, and it's like, wow, they got some pretty cool. But thinking of those are probably $6,000-7,000 a piece. So when you're looking at investing just to get some good machinery, like $150,000, that doesn't count the backhoe. I should just become friends with Shia LaBeouf, as I said, and he can make all the holes. That would be much easier. My greenhouse is still standing. That's a good thing. It's been through 2 rainstorms and windstorms. So I'm proud of that. And there's no holes in the plastics. That's a good thing. Well, I hope you have a good night, good evening, good weekend, good fall. Hope that you can enjoy maybe the outside with a cigar or a pipe. I did enjoy my pipe yesterday or the day before when I made the last video. That was actually very good. The aroma of it was really good. I think I wore the same shirt, and just to let you know, I have 2 or 3 of these shirts. So I don't wear the same shirt 8 days in a row. I'm not that kind of guy. Anyways, wish you the best. We'll talk to you soon, and take care.